Okay, this has been a hot subject here on YouTube, or it's going around the internet. With Logan Paul. Some of you guys probably know Logan Paul. He's a famous YouTuber. He boxed Mayweather. Um, he's just famous, and a lot of people watch him. I think he got close to maybe over 100 million subscribers. But he said something in June, I think, of 2020, and it's just now resurfacing about white privilege. Check out what Candace Owens has to say about this, and I give you some of my input on what I think. Check it out.
This week, Logan Paul, who's a YouTuber, got some attention for his own recent anti-racism rant. I invited Logan on the show, and by the way, I want to be very clear that he may actually join me in the near future. I appreciate the fact that he was willing to have an open dialogue, and I may go on his show in the near future.
And Logan Paul, he commented, this is going on in Twitter because Candace Owens wrote something on Twitter. And Logan Paul, I think he's a good guy. He's kind of dramatic. He know how to play the game. But check it out and listen to him, see what he say.
I ended up speaking with her, and there may be a future where we sit down and have a civil discourse because I think there's some meat on this bone.
But for right now, I want to make sure that we break down his comments because they did go viral, and it is very important that people know the other side of the argument. It's very important that we challenge this in today's Counterpoint. So we're going to break up this video. Let's start from the top.
It is not enough to be not racist. You have to be anti-racist.
Yes.
Condemn those who feign superiority because of the color of their skin. Friends, hold friends accountable. Hold your family accountable. Hold yourself accountable. And most importantly, we must hold our authorities accountable.
And I agree with him on that. You know, if you see somebody that's being racist, I'm talking about either black, white, it doesn't matter to me. I think everybody have a little bit in them somewhere, but if you see it, call it out. You know, if you see a friend talking about other people that you don't agree with it, don't be afraid, call it out. But this is what Candace Owens said.
Okay, I think it's a good start. I mean, I agree with that, obviously. If there's somebody around you that is being racist, you should hold them accountable and say, hey, that's not really cool. So I thought he's off to a strong, very strong start here. The problem is that he continues.
If you're white, if you look like me, use your privilege. And for those who do not think white privilege exists, you are blind. You are delusional, and you are part of the problem.
Well, he probably should have stopped. Like Candace said, he probably shouldn't have gone further. But he's saying use your white privilege. And in the field I work in, you know, it's more of a family related thing. You know, I don't see any white privileges out there. I may have a little bit of privilege, especially as my job as a CWI, as a certified welding inspector. I don't have to lay down in the mud and weld and things like that. No more. I've did it in the past. But as far as the white privilege, I'm trying to think of how a person has white privilege. If you guys know, put it in the comment below. But as far as I'm concerned, I do not see it. But check it out.
Okay, so in the first portion of this clip, he tells us that people shouldn't feign superiority because of the color of their skin. And then in the second part, he has just told me, a black person, that he is better than me. He is more privileged than me because of the color of his skin. And that if I don't buy into the idea of white privilege, meaning that white people are more privileged than me, then I'm an idiot.
Let me pause that. I've heard stories in the past too where a black person was trying to sell their house and they were having problems. This lady was having problems. So she called her friend, which was a white friend, and she stepped in her place, and she got almost twice the amount of money that was requested, and she sold the house for her. Now, I don't know if you call that white privilege or it is some kind of discrimination in that part right there, because why she had problems selling her house as a black lady when she called her friend, it sold and almost doubled.
She says that the appraised value of her home more than doubled after she took steps to hide her identity.
So I decided to do exactly what was done in the article. I took down every photo of my family from my house. I took every piece of ethnic artwork out.
Duffy asked a white male friend to sit in for her at a new appraisal. It came back at double the first two, valuing her home more than $100,000 higher.
Such a clear play for clout that involved a subject that should never be brought into clout plays. Like, it was just...
It was here. She tweeted, Logan loves to challenge people.
And it may be clout. It may be clout. Get more subscribers. I've seen Candace Owens talk about Floyd, and I did agree with some of the stuff that she was talking about, but it got a lot of views. But here go with the back and forth thing from Logan and Candace here on Twitter. This is what Candace tweeted. She said, Logan loves to challenge people in the boxing ring. I like to publicly challenge him to go a few rounds with me in a political debate. At Logan Paul, how about you stop by my show and explain to me how your check notes more privileged than me because you're white and I'm not. And Logan, do not do it. This girl is really smart. She'll rip you apart.
Think about what I'm actually saying here. There are a bunch of white people who are doing what he is doing right now. They're going around and saying, I am more privileged than you because of the color of my skin. Is that not the very definition of racism? To look at me and to say, you know what, you're black, and therefore you are underprivileged. And look at me, I am white. You're an idiot if you don't see that I am more privileged than you. How do people not understand that that is the very definition of racism?
Candace, this is what is being shown on television. They are telling people this and they'll start believing it. If you tell somebody something over and over and over and over again, people will start believing it. You know, it's time for, I said, people to really wake up. You know, it's not my next door neighbor. I call them, it's the elite people that are telling us that certain races of people are more privileged. And if they continue to say it in your subconscious mind, you're going to start believing it. But I'm going to let Candace continue.
Logan Paul goes on. Let's watch the last clip.
I can count on zero hands the amount of times that I have feared for my life at a routine traffic stop. That has never happened. Half of the reason I'm able to get away with some of my hooligan shit I do in my vlogs is because I'm a white kid.
Me, I'm going to have to explain that to you. If I get stopped by a cop, I am not afraid. I know these people tell you, put your hands up to hide this. Sometimes I want to be stopped by the cops just to talk to them. If I don't have nothing to hide, why am I fearing? I don't teach my son to be afraid to get pulled over because you look suspicious when you're afraid. I've been stopped a few times and I actually got away with a few tickets. Not because I was black or white, because they didn't sense the fear. I didn't fear it, you know? So I don't know where they get this, black people are afraid of cops. And I hate to see celebrities get online and tell their kids, hey, take your hand off the steering wheel, do this, do this. That's crazy. I never teach my son that. I tell my son, you know, just be normal. It's a cop. Talk to him like he's your friend. Just go about your business, but don't be over dramatic and putting your hands up in the air and taking your hand. Go. That's crazy. Fear factors. And these celebrities need to stop doing this, telling people to be afraid. Don't be afraid. But I'm gonna let Candace continue.
Okay, so this is probably really going to shock Logan, but I have never feared for my life at a routine traffic stop. In fact, 2 months ago, I was speeding in Montauk and I got pulled over. And at no point did I fear for my life. I maybe feared for the fine of the ticket because I happened to be in New York, but I definitely did not think that I was going to be killed by a police officer. What Logan Paul is doing here is he is making an assumption, a very racist assumption, that all black people are having the same experience at all times. He is saying, you know what? One black person has a bad experience with the cop. Therefore, that means that all black people must have a bad experience with the cop. That's racist.
And I don't think Logan Paul is racist. I think he was trying to do good back then, last year. But you're dealing with Candace. You're dealing with a person that's very smart. She thinks outside the box. She'll make you look silly. But I think he is not a prejudiced person. I think he's trying to do right. But Logan Paul, do not get on Candace's show and debate her. Like, don't do it, Logan. Do not do it.
Logan, statistics. It turns out, Logan, that your emotions defy reality. The reality is that Black Americans are 13% of the population and yet commit near 50% of all the homicides in this country. The reality is that white men are actually gunned down, unarmed by police officers more often than black men. By rate, look it up. The FBI statistics are available to you too. I suggest you look up those statistics so that when you and I actually have a sit down and have a productive conversation, which I'm very much looking forward to, you are actually armed with truth and not emotion.
Because Candace Owens, whether you can admit it or not, is a smart person.
Sure. Is she smart? Yes, she's very smart.
Stupid
That's the thing.
And articulate.
And so the question always comes down to, what are these very smart people utilizing their smarts for?
I know that's
Who is she working for?
That's the good
Who
part.
do you work for?
Hey, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. And the next video is coming up. All right, thanks for watching. And again, subscribe to my channel and click the like button.